Hi everyone, I hope that you guys are doing fine. I hope that everything is okay with you. Hope also that you had a great weekend. Today we will be having the continuation of your last lessons from simple, compound, and complex sentences. Hi everyone in the chat. It's good to see you guys again. Okay, so I'll just share the screen and then we can continue. Okay, so what we will have is the sentence simple, compound, or complex. All right, so first of all, we need to note that a clause is a group of words that contains both a subject and a predicate. So every clauses will have the subject and they will also have the predicate. An independent clause is a complex, complete thought. When we have the independent clause, it is a complete thought. It can stand alone as a sentence. And then when we have the dependent clause, it is not a complete thought and it cannot stand alone in a sentence. Hi guys. So for example, we have the oranges on our tree are ripe. The oranges on our tree are ripe. Now, the clause can stand alone, it is independent. So, whenever we say like independent clauses, obviously we just mean like a complete sentence, a complete thought. It doesn't need help, it doesn't need addition of anything because it does stand on its own and it makes complete sense. And then when we have, after we pick up Kelvin from work, now it says, oh, missed you all too. Miss you guys so much. It's good to see you guys again. All right, miss you guys a lot. So yeah, when we have the dependent clause, it is, for example, we could have sentences like, after we pick up Calvin from work. Now, when we say after we pick up Calvin from work, that sentence is incorrect because when we say after we pick up Kelvin from work, what happens then? We have no idea. What happens to Kelvin? What do we do next? We don't know. It just says after we pick up Kelvin from work. So the clause cannot stand alone. It is dependent. Okay. So when the clauses are dependent, that means they do not form a complete thought. They need support. And then when they're independent, they form a complete thought. So you guys know already if we are having a class, we need to interact. So on the chat box, can you send me one independent clause and a dependent clause? So that is like making one sentence each, you guys. Okay, so you have one independent clause and one dependent clause. So you can send in the chat box if you know that or if you have any sentence. So you can choose, are you sending an independent clause or are you sending a dependent clause? So you can send one sentence before we move on. let's be certain that you all understand what the independent clause is and what the dependent clause is as well. Okay, so let's see on the chat. Let's see on the chat. Which one are you gonna send to me here? So you guys. So we also have simple sentences. You can send your sentence anytime you know that. Then we have simple sentence. A simple sentence is made up of a single independent clause. So whenever you see that we have the simple sentence, it is made up of a single independent clause. Of course, we know that a simple sentence forms a complete thought. It makes sense. You do not need any addition or any help. Just like when we have Ben and I spent all day relaxing by the pool. So now this is a simple sentence. It's already an independent clause. It's a sentence that makes sense on its own. So it does not need help whatsoever. Now, some simple sentences have introductory phrases. Um, an independent clause is the secret of life is honesty. Okay, independent clause. Okay, so you're saying the secret of life is honesty. When you say the secret of life is honesty, that's a sentence, that's an independent clause, which is correct. You do not need any help or whatsoever, because the secret of life is honesty is already a complete thought. Okay, so like I was saying, some simple sentences have introductory phrases, but the introductory phrases is part of the predicate. Okay, so I'm sure that you guys know what predicates are. Is Predicates are like we can say like the action going on in the sentence. So when we have the subject is the person doing the action, and the predicate is the action going on. So some sentences, some simple sentence will have the introductory phrase, but the introductory phrase is part of the predicate. So in the winter, Ben usually wears his heavy coat. So Ben usually wears his heavy coat in the winter. So these both sentences can go together. So that's it for like the simple sentence. So you can just note that the simple sentence is as well the independent clause because it does not need help. It is a complete thought. And then when we move on to the compound sentence, a compound sentence is made up of two independent clauses joined by a coordinating conjunction. So whenever you would have the compound sentence, it is two independent clause. So when we say independent clause, we know that they already form a complete thought, and then they are joined by coordinating conjunctions. Now we have four coordinating conjunctions which are and, but, or, so. So these are the four coordinating conjunction. And when it comes to the compound sentence, you would have the coordinating conjunction joining two independent clauses. And take note that usually you would have a comma before the coordinating conjunction, and then you would have the other part of the sentence. So just like we saw a flash of lightning, there's a comma here and a conjunction, and seconds later we heard the rumble of thunder. Okay. All right. So Brighty, if you have another, you can send to us. That's still okay. So yeah, we saw a flash of lightning, and seconds later, we heard the rumble of thunder. So, this is a compound sentence, okay, because it has the coordinating conjunction here, which is on, and then a comma. So that's it for like the simple sentence, the compound sentences. So you guys have to take note of that. And then moving on, we have a complex sentence. Now, a complex sentence is made up of an independent clause and a dependent clause. So if you remember when we started up here, we said that clauses are a group of words that contains both a subject and a predicate. And we both know what the subject and predicates are. And then we went on to say that the independent clause is a complete thought, while the independent clause is not a complete thought. Okay? So when we have a complex sentence is made up of an independent clause and a dependent clause. The independent does not need your help, it's already a sentence on its own. And the dependent clause needs help because it cannot stand alone. Now, the dependent clauses usually begin with a subordinating conjunction. So we have what we call like the subordinating conjunctions, and the dependent clause begins with that. So we have some subordinating conjunctions which are after, although, as, because, before, if, since, unless, until, when, or while. So all these here are subordinating conjunctions, and you guys should take note of that because the dependent clause starts with any of this. So whenever you see any of this in the sentence, you should know that we're heading to the complex sentence. If she ever gets the chance, Terry would love to visit Egypt, the Egyptian pyramid. Now we have if here. If is a subordinating conjunction. So that's to say that the beginning of this sentence is a dependent clause. Now, imagine if we say she ever gets the chance. Now, if we say she ever gets the chance, she ever gets the chance, that is not correct, right? Because we're saying she ever gets the chance. So it's incomplete, something is missing, that's why it's a dependent clause. But then the dependent clause would need a subordinating conjunction. So that's why we would end up having this sentence. Okay. So please let me know on the chat, you guys. Do you have any questions before we go on to answer like the test and do some examples? Do you have any questions? Yes. So dependent clause is the still so let's say that from your example, Brighty, we can say that the dependent clause starts from still a good thing. So, for example, we say still a good thing. Now, who are the good team? We have no idea. That's why we have them as dependent clauses. So, still a good thing. That means it's missing the subject, it's missing something that we need to take note of. So, yes, you guys let me know in the chat. Do you have any questions? Please indicate yes or no. So I'm guessing that you guys have no questions, so we'll move on to the questions and the test. Take notes that you have to send me your answers on the chat, okay? So let's communicate, you guys. All right, so We have the first question, which says, which is a complex sentence? Sorry, incomplete. The correct answer is Strong was playing the piano in the living room when dad called him for dinner. So the second sentence is the complex sentence. It is made up of an independent clause and a dependent clause. The dependent clause begins with the subordinating conjunction. So you guys also need to take note that the subordinating conjunction can come like in the second part of the sentence. It is not necessary that it comes at the beginning. It could come like later. So let's see. Okay, you're welcome. Then we also have Brighty says, independent clause, Alice Ed Pastor. Yeah, exactly. So independent clause is the example you just left. Alice ate pasta in the evening. That is a complete sentence because we know who the subject is. We know what the predicate is. Okay. Independent clause, Elizabeth ate pasta in the evening. That's also correct. So that's good. That's your independent clause. Okay. All right. So we'll move on to the test and you guys can send your answers. So we have, which is a compound sentence here. At the auction, several paintings by famous artists were for sale, including one by Pablo Picasso. You can wipe up your spill with some paper towel or you can use sponge on the counter. So which is the compound sentence? Here, what is the compound sentence here? Okay, so everybody, you have to interact, you have to send in your answers. Let's do this together. So will it be the first or the second? So what will be the answer here? Is it the first or the second? Option one. So now this is asking for a compound sentence. So I like that you guys sent in your answer so that I can be able to correct you. This is asking for compound sentence, and you need to remember that I said the compound sentence has a coordinating conjunction and there's a comma. So if you look at the first, it has no coordinating conjunctions. It's asking for compound sentence. But the second one has the coordinating conjunction, which is or. Remember, we have four. We have the or, we have and, but, so. Now, the second one is supposed to be the compound sentence because it has the coordinating conjunction. Okay? So the second one is the answer. Now we also have simple sentence. Unless this weather forecast is wrong, you will probably need an umbrella tomorrow. Mr. Jones' afternoon lectures about art and culture in Germany before World War II. So which of these do you guys think is the simple sentence? What is the simple sentence here? What is the simple sentence here? Two. Okay. So we have two as the simple sentence. Okay, good. Then we have compound sentence again. Which of this is the compound sentence, you guys? I had an old token for my subway fare, but the new system only accepts paper fare cards. My flint heart keeps my head and ears warm on even the coldest winter day. So which is your compound sentence here? What's the compound sentence? So which is the compound sentence here? What is the compound sentence here? Okay. All right. So option one. Okay. That's correct. All right. And then what's the complex sentence here? Because the leaves blocked the intense sun, it was cool underneath the forest canopy. Mm-hmm. So the American badger, one of the fastest digging animal on the planet, can dig quickly through both soil and concrete. So what is a complex sentence here? Mhm. So let's see. So the first one is correct, you guys. Remember that I said the complex sentence, we have the dependent clause and independent clause. Now, the dependent clause usually begins with because, if, what, when, any of those words, the subordinating conjunction. So we have this here, and it says the leaves blocked the intense sun. It was cool underneath the forest canopy, like that. Okay. So, and you guys say option two, but okay. Now, the first one is the correct one, like I've said, because it has a dependent and independent clause, and it also starts with because, which is a subordinating conjunction. But we can scroll down and see the explanation. So if ever you are working on your test and then you get anyone wrong, you can as well just scroll down and continue. So you read it down here and see why it was wrong. So the first sentence is the complex sentence. It is made up of a dependent clause and a independent clause. So now the dependent clause begins with a subordinating conjunction because. So because the leaves block the intense sun, it was cool underneath the forest canopy. So without because, this sentence would have been not complete, the first part of the sentence. So which one is a simple sentence here? Which is the simple sentence here? What's the simple sentence? Which of this is the simple sentence? Let's see your answers, guys. What's your answer here? So, what's the simple sentence here? One. Okay. The first one. Okay. That's correct because the second one had a coordinating conjunction. Okay. So we have which is a complex sentence here. Uncle Harry will keep snoring until he rolls over onto his stomach. Lucy and her sisters drew a map of the United States and hung it on the wall. So what is the complex sentence here? Which one? One. Okay. Which is the complex sentence? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Option one. Okay. That's correct. That's correct, guys. Then, which is a simple sentence? Before you explain your position, please listen carefully to Ellie's idea. Before the race, the athlete enjoyed a healthy breakfast of oatmeal, fruits, and tea. What is the simple sentence here? Which of this is the simple sentence? So, which is the simple sentence here? What is the simple sentence, guys? Mm-hmm. So, which is the simple sentence here? Would you say that is the first before the race? The athletes enjoyed a healthy breakfast of oatmeal, fruits, and tea. Or before you explain your position, please listen carefully. So if you click on the first one, it is wrong. Okay? So you can see over here that the second sentence is the simple sentence. It is a single independent clause. So that's what you need to take note of. If you're trying to figure out the independent clause or the single sentence, you have to check the one that is the single independent clause. So before the race, ignore the comma that you see at the starting here. It doesn't matter. The athletes enjoyed a healthy breakfast. Now, this is a single sentence on its own. Even though there are lots of comma in it, it is still the single sentence. Okay? Then, when you come over here, before you explain your position, please listen carefully to Ellie's advice. Now, This one is a complex sentence, okay? The first one is a complex sentence. Please listen carefully. From the second half, it's like the independent, and from the beginning is the dependent sentence, okay? So you guys take notes. It might come in like almost similar, but don't worry about the comma and all that. So what is the compound sentence here? Which of these is the compound sentence? Compound sentence. So which is the compound sentence here? So what is the compound sentence here? Okay, so number one is the compound sentence, okay? It has the coordinates in conjunction. Okay, that's great. And then which is the simple sentence again here? Which is the simple sentence? Is it the first one or the second? In June, Kimmy and Perry will graduate with honors from Newbeck High School. Oh, Vera accidentally spilled her glass of juice, but luckily it didn't get on the white sofa. So, which one is the simple sentence? Which of these is the simple sentence? Mm-hmm. Which is the simple sentence, the first or the second? So, the first one, okay, because the second sentence has a coordinates in conjunction, which is but. Then we have which is a complex sentence. Open and honest communication is the foundation of a healthy relationship. Tang was playing the piano in the living room when dad called him for dinner. So is it the first or the second? Which is the complex sentence here? Which is the complex sentence? So what is the complex sentence? Is it the first or the second one? Mhm. Which is the complex sentence, the first or the second? Which of this is the complex sentence? Oh, that's okay. That's fine, no problem at all. If you do not understand what we've been doing so far, you can just watch like the video from the beginning and then you can understand it. Okay? Anyways, this is the complex sentence here. This over here is the complex sentence. Okay, so you have some more questions left, and then you can complete this test on your own. But you guys, let me know on the chat. Do you have a question from this? Is there anything that you don't understand? Let me know so I can explain better. So you could just say yes or no on the chat. Is there any question, anything that you don't understand? Let me know on the chat and I will explain to you. Let's see. You're welcome. Any questions before we get to finish? Okay. Number one is the answer. But do you have any questions before I let you guys finish your test? Number one, no, it's not the answer because it has a coordinating conjunction. So it would have to be the second one. But do you have any question, guys? If no questions, we will finish here for today. Please do make sure that you complete the test. If you do not understand, you can watch this video over again. And then see you guys in the next lesson. Bye, guys.